The reading on feeding relationships. On slide 2. Every living thing or organism on Earth needs energy to survive. Where does that energy come from? All the energy organisms need to survive is provided by the sun. This energy moves through ecosystems when one organism is consumed or eaten by another organism. The passing of energy to organisms happens in different ways. To the right with the picture of the plant, it says producers use energy from the sun to make their own food in a process called photosynthesis. Underneath that, in the picture of the bird, it says consumers get the energy they need by eating or consuming other organisms. Second paragraph. While all living things rely on the sun for energy, organisms that get energy by being a producer, consumer, or a decomposer. Plants like grass, flowers, and trees are producers because they make their own food through photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process in which plants use energy from the sun, water, and nutrients in the soil to create their own food. Going to the third paragraph that starts with a consumer. A consumer is any organism that cannot make its own food and depends on consuming or eating other organisms for its energy needs. There are 3 types of consumers. The first type of consumer, an herbivore, eats only plants to survive. A caterpillar is an example of an herbivore because it merely consumes plants. Another type of consumer is a carnivore. These organisms only consume other animals to survive. Because it eats other animals but not plants, a hawk is a carnivore. An omnivore is the third type of consumer. An organism that can consume both plants and animals to get energy is called an omnivore. For example, a crow is a bird that eats insects and plants is an omnivore. A crow is a bird that eats insects and plants is also known as an omnivore. Final paragraph. Another type of organism that transfers energy is a decomposer. Decomposers get their energy by feeding on dead plants, animals, and waste, therefore returning nutrients to the soil. Worms, mushrooms, and bacteria are examples of decomposers. And the picture to the right says decomposers break down dead organisms and return nutrients to the soil. Slide number 3. The movement of energy in the organisms of an ecosystem is complex. Fortunately, we can study this movement through an energy flow model called a food chain. In a food chain, arrows connect organisms and point in the direction that the energy is moving. A food chain only shows a single path of energy as it moves through different organisms. A more accurate model of energy flow through an ecosystem can be seen in a food web. Food webs show how many overlapping food chains and can highlight competition between organisms for energy sources. In the picture, it says, this food chain is a model of how energy flows from one organism to another. The arrows show the direction that the energy is moving. When you see an arrow, read gives energy to. In the food energy above, the caterpillar gives energy to the bird. A simple food web. It is important to know the roles of the sun, producers, consumers, and decomposers. Since producers get their energy directly from the sun, most of the energy available in food is found with producers, such as the milkweed plant. When a consumer like a rabbit eats the milkweed plant, it uses part of that plant's energy to meet its own needs. Then, when another consumer like a coyote consumes the rabbit, only a portion of the energy from that rabbit is passed to the coyote. Food webs help us visualize the energy that flowed through the plant to the rabbit and then to the coyote, all started with the sun.